remember this era of animated movies that came out during the pandemic. I'm referring to it as like the lost era of animated movies, and I just find it so strange looking back on it, because I genuinely, fundamentally believe there were some great movies that came out in this pandemic era that have just been lost to time. Like, no one is giving them the appreciation they deserve. Whether we like it or not, a movie doing well at the box office affects how we view said movie. And that could be a good thing or a bad thing. Sometimes movies do really well at the box office, and the reputation of those movies goes from, oh yeah, wasn't this a great movie, to, ugh, that movie's so overrated. And also, when a movie does badly at the box office, it can become this underrated gem that doesn't get enough appreciation. And then, on top of all of that, we also just have movies that do well at the box office, and therefore feel like we almost just kind of have to respect that movie because of how well it's done. I don't know if that feels like a real thing that happened. Now, this era of animated movies never had the chance to do that, because pretty much all of these movies from 2021 came straight to DVD. No, they did not. DVDs were very much long gone by that era. They came straight to streaming services. Yes, that's the world we're living in. I got lost for a second there. I kind of forgot what was going on, but here we are, I'm back. And I feel like our brains are wired to think and believe that straight-to-home video or streaming movies are worse, because typically they have been. I've made videos and series talking about Disney's era of creating straight-to-DVD sequels back in the late 90s and early 2000s. They made, like, 50 of them, where they were basically every year releasing 3, 4, 5 movies that were just direct sequels to animated movies that they made 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago at some points. I'm looking at you, Bambi, too. And the point I'm trying to make is that even though I kind of have a soft place in my heart for these movies, because I spent so much time consuming them and reviewing them and just talking about them for years, I understand that these movies are not that good. Like, they're fine. Some of them are actually surprisingly okay, but, like, almost none of them improve upon their original. I don't know how to put it really politely and nicely. They're not as professional, almost, is the term. I think that's really the best way of putting it. They're not as professional. And therefore, if you made a really good animated movie that was scheduled to come out in 2020 or 2021, you kind of were stuck in a bit of a situation where the movie wasn't allowed to come out to cinemas and earn the respect that it deserved from the audience, and just kind of had to put it straight to streaming. And no one talks about it. No one's talking about making sequels to these movies, which maybe is a good thing, because, you know, I'm not the biggest fan of sequels, but I feel like that's one of the ways of measuring success for an animated movie, is whether there gets a sequel. If it's a good, successful animated movie, it gets a sequel. But pretty much nothing that came out in 2020, 2021 has had even talk of sequels around them yet. I mean, I have my opinions on what Pixar's movies all being thrown straight onto Disney Plus for about 2 years has done for that company. Because I think a lot of the Pixar movies that came out at that time were good. But again, I talk about this a lot, so I'm not gonna bore you with that. A more interesting thing I noticed was that during this period, Dreamworks did not release a single original movie that wasn't part of an existing franchise or a sequel of some kind. They only released, like, reboots and sequels, and it was like they were literally doing a straight-to-streaming era. Like, they released 4 movies, like Trolls 2, I think, Croods 2, Boss Baby 2, and then they did like a Spirit reboot. That was literally what DreamWorks' run of movies over the pandemic was. It was like they literally just became Dreamworks Toon Studios. I don't know if a lot of you are going to have got that reference. Disney Toon Studios is the name of the company that made all of the Disney sequels back in like the late 90s, early 2000s. So I was making a joke calling them Dreamworks Toon Studios, as to say, like, this wasn't real Dreamworks. And even more weirdly than Dreamworks, Illumination did not release a single movie. They were like, well, if we can't make box office money from it, we don't want it. Genuinely, Illumination went 2.5 years without releasing a movie over the pandemic. That is, like, ridiculous. That's unheard of. On top of that, we had Sony Animation, who had a deal with Netflix, so all their movies were going straight to Netflix at this time, and they might even still have this exclusivity deal with Netflix. And they released 3 original movies over the pandemic, of which some of them I thought were really good. Mitchell's vs. the Machines is maybe the best animated movie I've seen this decade. Okay, that might be a bit excessive. Maybe 3rd or 4th best animated movie I've seen this decade. How it didn't win the Best Animated Feature Award in 2021 and lost to Encanto, I don't know, but also, talking about Disney, Raya and the Last Dragon came out during this time period. I think that is the most quickly forgotten Disney princess movie to ever exist. I also remember kind of liking it when it came out. I remember like the whole world was like, this isn't that great. And then I looked up its reviews recently. It doesn't even have bad reviews. I'm genuinely confused. It's like Disney have randomly gone, yeah, we're gonna hide the evidence for this 93% rated Rotten Tomatoes movie. We don't want the world to know we made that one. It has a 3.2 on Letterboxd, so I guess maybe the audience wasn't as big a fan of it. I think the fact it didn't have like musical numbers and stuff for a Disney princess movie probably hurt it a little bit. I think Disney princess movies being musicals really helps their branding and actually gets people to come out and see them a bit, and this obviously didn't have musical numbers. Whether it would have done well, we can't know. We're never gonna know. Would it be received differently if it had come out to cinemas and done well at the box office? I think yes. And that's my point. But this movie just has never been given a chance. I haven't ever watched it again since I first watched it and kind of enjoyed it. And I've not really thought about it much. I kind of forgot it existed, and then I was making this video, I was like, oh my, I forgot about this movie. Yeah, this movie exists. And then by the end of 2021, when Disney had their next princess movie, which actually was filled with musical numbers, they put it out to cinemas, and it didn't do well. It's a really confusing one with Encanto, where it's truly the exception, not the rule here, where it came to cinemas, did badly in cinemas, they took it out of cinemas, put it on streaming on Disney Plus, where it then started doing really well, and like, We Don't Talk About Bruno became a #1 hit, which just doesn't happen, by the way. Like, Let It Go never hit #1 in the charts. The last Disney song to hit #1 in the charts was A Whole New World from Aladdin. That was back in the early 90s. And then Encanto kind of had its lease of life on Disney Plus after that, and everyone was talking about it, made its impact, and that's kind of what ended this era of lost animation movies, in my opinion, once Encanto was kind of reaching the public consciousness. And from there, movies have been back in cinemas, animated movies done really well in cinemas, and I think we're kind of back to normal now. But if we return back to this era of lost animation movies, a really interesting thing I found from it was that there was just no press tours about these movies, and it's a really weird thing to say that. It almost become the done thing over this era for animated movies not to do press tours anymore, and by press tours I mean like the directors doing interviews, going on talk shows, and you know, that sort of thing. That's what I'm calling a press tour. So first we had Soul, which I consider to be like the first movie in this era. It did a little bit of press, that was at the end of 2020. Raya and the Last Dragon had Kelly Marie Tran go on Ellen, and that was kind of it. There was, like, she did a few other interviews, but, you know, that was kind of like the last animated press tour. But when it comes to Luca, I've looked on YouTube, there's no late night shows, there's almost no interviews about this movie, and there's even less when it comes to Mitchells versus the Machines. There was almost nothing said about this movie when it came out. Encanto barely had a press tour, by the way. Like, there was almost no one talking about this movie when it came out to cinemas in 2021. But then, weirdly, when they were desperately trying to win the Oscar and pushing the Oscar campaign for Encanto at the start of 2022, suddenly they did loads of press for the movie in March, and that's why we do have a retroactive Encanto press tour where Lin-Manuel Miranda's on the late night talk shows and he's just desperately trying to get that EGOT. I find this to be so funny because Lin-Manuel Miranda so obviously is desperate to win this Oscar, and I bet he lies awake at night upset about the fact they didn't nominate We Don't Talk About Bruno for Best Original Song that year. Like, oh my god, it's one of the greatest blunders in recent movie history, in my opinion, because it was a shoo-in, I think. Like, that was the biggest song from any movie that year. But Encanto isn't the Lin-Manuel Miranda movie from 2021 that I actually want to focus this video about. I actually really want to talk about the movie Vivo. I'm willing to bet a lot of people watching this video have never seen this movie, maybe have never heard of this movie. And genuinely, I think this movie is so great. It's one of my favorite animated movies to come out of this era. It doesn't have good reviews. It's not critically acclaimed. I don't even think audiences particularly liked it, but I did. I loved this movie, and I find it to be so funny because it's the hardest movie to sell to someone because it sounds so bad, and maybe it is a little bit bad. I don't think it's actually like an amazing movie on paper, but oh my god, do I love it. And I just want to talk about Vivo for a second, okay? I've been actually trying to get my girlfriend to watch this movie for almost 2 years now. I was trying to pitch it to her all this time, and I was like, so basically, this movie is like, you know, like Lin-Manuel Miranda, but like as Alexander Hamilton, playing a talking monkey. It's not a monkey, it's a Chinkachu, I know that, but it's basically a talking monkey. And it has the most chaotic soundtrack you've ever heard. Like, now I don't assume many people heard that and wanted to watch this movie. And I do understand that there's a bit of a Lin-Manuel Miranda fatigue going on right now, but if you could just give one more song, just one more, give us an encore. This is the movie to watch if you're just like ever in a mood to just like overdose yourself with Lin-Manuel Miranda's brain. This movie is weird because none of the songs really fit with each other. I genuinely want to know if this movie was just made up of songs that were rejected from other movies, because I can pick out a song from this movie that I feel like probably would have fit in Moana. I can pick out songs from this movie I feel like maybe fit in Hamilton, but they've just changed the words. I think there's a song from this movie that was definitely meant to be in Encanto, and Sony were just like, we'll take the songs and we can fit that in a movie. It has the first song, which is kind of a very Hamilton-esque song, where you literally have Lin-Manuel Miranda rapping in the Hamilton style as a monkey. I wasn't joking. He's literally like, I know what you're thinking. What the king are you doing in Cuba? Aren't you usually in the rainforest? I was grabbing the... And then you have this next song, the I Want song, One More Song, which I just quoted earlier. I genuinely believe is one of the best I Want songs in an animated movie, or just movie generally, that I've heard in years, and it gets stuck in my head frequently. And then the movie kind of transpires. I'm trying not to spoil it too much, because I don't want to spoil this movie. He ends up going somewhere else, and we get introduced to this girl called Gabby, who you have to see her to believe her. And she sings a song called My Own Drum. And it's truly the craziest song that I cannot believe that Lin-Manuel Miranda made this song. The point behind this song is that Gabby does not have a great understanding of rhythm and music, which is infuriating to this musically trained monkey that Lin-Manuel Miranda's playing. I know this sounds bad, okay, but it's not that bad. It's actually good. And she's got this song that she sings where she's like, I bounce to the beat of my own drum, because she doesn't obey the rules of music. And they made a song about her not obeying the rules of music. That's what this song is. If you do one thing after this video, listen to My Own Drum from Vivo. You don't have to watch the whole movie. Just go on your streaming service for music and look up My Own Drum. It's oh my god, it kind of sounds bad, but also it's not. It's like you hear it and you're like, if you get it, you get it, okay? Like, I feel like some of you are gonna vibe to this song. And then they do the craziest thing ever. A bit later, they're having this moment. Lin-Manuel Miranda's monkey, Vivo, is just sat there singing this ballad. And then she comes in singing the tune from My Own Drum, and they merge them together. And it is incredible. There's also just this random song in there that's sung by these birds that come into the movie for a bit. Like, and it does not fit with anything else in this movie. It's just like a weird love song between these two birds. Again, it really feels like they've taken it from another movie, probably Moana, and just gone, yeah, we can find a way to squeeze this in. We'll work around songs. It has this like weird like chase song in there. M-I-A-M-I, running out of time. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to make this as chaotic as it is, but it's just like, they even have those classic like Lin-Manuel Miranda spoken words that like, where the mom's just like, her name is Gabby, she's 10, she's my daughter. I know she was on this bus. She bought this ticket. And then the bus driver's like, hey, listen, lady, I've had a long day. As I said, she was not with us. I need a nap. You can't sing along to this movie at all. It's just pure chaos. There's no continuity to it either. And then like it ends with like an almost like Coco Remember Me sort of like, this is the song that this has all been about coming into play. This movie has layers to it. It's quick paced, but it's also tragic. And by all accounts, the movie doesn't make sense. But it's truly great, and I sincerely, genuinely believe if this movie had been given a chance, kids would love this movie, because it brought out my inner child, this movie. It really, like, I feel like if I saw this movie as a kid, I would probably consider this to be one of my favorite movies of all time. And maybe the kids of today have watched this movie and saw it on Netflix, they grew up with it, and they are going to come and play in a few years' time and go, oh yeah, Vivo was a classic. And because it never had its chance to run at the box office, I feel like I don't know anyone who's ever seen this movie. If I bring up this movie to someone, people have not seen this movie. Again, I'm not talking to kids, fortunately, so I don't know what they're saying about it. I'm talking about when I talk to people who like animated movies who are my age. This movie, I don't think was promoted at all, and it's so odd to me. It's like they just put it out to fill a quota or something, and then wanted to leave it behind. When I was talking about the press tours earlier, this movie is the shining shining example of no press tour at all. There is, and I'm not joking here, one 9-minute interview of Lin-Manuel Miranda talking about this movie, and that is it. They did no other press for it. He didn't go on a talk show about this. He didn't even do like press junkets with influencers. I've done press junkets with like directors of movies before. If I had got a chance to sit down with Lin-Manuel Miranda and talk about Vivo, the amount of questions I'd be able to ask, I have so many. I want to know what was the thinking behind this movie. He said in this interview that it was first put in front of him
in about 2009.
So the idea around this movie has existed. They obviously were like, yeah, we need you to make some songs for this movie. And I think finally, after years and years of this movie getting shelved and then getting brought back into the equation, he was like, I actually have a few songs that I could find a way to shoehorn into this movie, and it ended up with this chaotic mess, but beautiful mess of a movie. I would love to talk to someone about it, but this is my only outsource. I have to speak into the camera, into this void, and hope that there's someone out there who understands what I'm talking about. And this is what epitomizes this lost era of animation movies, that I'm always just gonna sit there and think, what if? What if they'd had a chance to be a success, go to cinemas, and like maybe we would be talking about these movies in different lights? A movie being successful affects people wanting to see it, because movies do have success through word of mouth, and people talking about movies and saying, oh yeah, that movie's pretty good, is a big reason why people go see movies. It's kind of like what happened with Encanto, I feel. People didn't go see it in cinemas really because no one was talking about it, and then as soon as it came out to Disney Plus and people started talking about it, people wanted to see this movie, and people have seen this movie. And I don't think anyone ever had that conversation about Vivo or a lot of the movies from this era, because they weren't given the proper marketing. They were just thrown straight onto streaming and have kind of been lost. But there are some truly great movies from this time, and I just wish they'd got more respect. And yeah, that's all for this video. I just wanted to talk about Vivo, to be honest with you. I don't know if you could tell, and I've kind of made this all into this big, like, oh yeah, let's talk about the lost era of animation movies, but no, let's just talk about Vivo. This was the lost movie. This was the movie that deserved success that never got it, and maybe this will be the start for Vivo's era of appreciation. We're in the Vivo revival era now. I'm not even pointing at what am I doing? And yeah, thanks for watching this video. This has been Blue Seamus. I'm uploading every Monday on here, so if you enjoy that, make sure to subscribe, leave a like, and yeah, that's it.